The UN says they only have enough food left in Port-au-Prince, the capital, to last a few more weeks. That according to the World Food Program country director, who in a briefing on Tuesday said that the main port in Haiti remains closed due to gang violence. And that is where most of the food enters the country. So the UN is having to rely on what's left of their emergency stockpiles that are quickly running out.
With this insecurity, it's hampering people from doing very simple things. In Haiti right now, taking your kid to school, going to the supermarket, going to work, all these things are extremely risky. We need security to come back to the country. I need to make sure that you understand that security is important, but it's not a case of guns or butter. We actually also need to focus on feeding the people in Haiti.
The World Food Program estimates there are 4 million people in Haiti that are food insecure, with 1 million just one step away from famine. With a shortage of food, that means prices are increasing, in some parts of the country jumping as much as 25%. Now, in terms of the political uncertainty in the country, the UN says they will support any political transition proposed at the CARICOM meeting.
He calls on all Haitian stakeholders to act responsibly and to take steps towards the implementation of the agreement in order to restore the country's democratic institutions through peaceful, credible, participatory, and inclusive elections.
Gabriel, Elizondo, Al Jazeera at the United Nations in New York.
Let's now speak to Renata Segura, who's the Deputy Director for Latin America and the Caribbean at the International Crisis Group, joining us from Bogota. Thanks for your time with us. So first, let's look at the political developments. I mean, how do you read what came out of the CARICOM meeting? Is it a positive development?
It is definitely a positive development. We had hoped that a long time ago now, Henry would have stepped aside. He was an incredibly legitimate leader that had only remained in power because of the support of the international community. And we're hoping that this agreement that came out yesterday really will bring together the most important political and social forces to create a consensus government that has been essentially what has been missing in Haiti, so that we can start addressing both the security and the humanitarian crisis that you well described in your report.
But the gangs have said that they've said no to a transitional council, and they've also said no to the force, that Kenyan force that was meant to be deployed. So where do things head to next?
Yes, it's not going to be very easy. So the Kenyans are understandably worried about the lack of a counterpart, but we're hoping that within the next 48 hours to 3 days, we will have both a presidential council and also a prime minister, and that would at least give the Kenyans enough support in terms of governance. Now, the question obviously is how feasible it is for the force, as it had been imagined, to land in Haiti, to land safely, and to be able to go ahead with the tasks that the United Nations resolution had presented for them. It is likely that there is going to be needed a much bigger force that comes originally. I think the Kenyans had hoped that they could send a couple hundred people initially and then a bigger deployment. I don't think that that is feasible considering what's happening on the ground right now. So we're going to be looking probably at a much bigger contingent arriving soon. There's going to be need for money and equipment that needs to be mobilized much faster than what it was happening until recently. But really, if this mission doesn't arrive to Haiti, there is nothing else that is going to prevent the country from going into the abyss.
But
so
how are the gangs going to react? How are the gangs going to react to this, and how willing are they to engage with this transitional council?
Yes, I mean, obviously that remains the question. We have to understand that even though the gangs have been acting in a coordinated manner, they are quite fragmented. And we don't know that once the mission arrives, there's going to be a unitary, let's say, response to the force. From what we hear from people that are in quite close contact with the gangs, there's a lot of people that have joined them really out of lack of any other options. These are young people who don't really have much of a political aspiration of any sort, and who will be likely saying no. If this force comes and it looks serious and it looks like it has the equipment to really give us a hard time, we're not going to continue this fight. And so we're hoping that a good chunk of the lower ranks, let's say, at least demobilize at arrival and decide that that's not what they want to do. That also obviously is not going to be the case for everybody, and there's going to be a lot of gang members that are going to fight the mission, and it's going to be very difficult. And that's why we had been highlighting that there needs to be a lot of preparation to minimize civilian harm when the mission comes, but it is not going to be easy in security terms by any means.
All right, thank you so much, Renata Segura. Thanks for joining us from Bogota.
Thank you for having me.